Welcome back, guys. I had another glitch with the computer. I cannot believe it's taken me this long to get through this article. I really appreciate you sticking with me. I apologize it's taken so long. I have way too many thoughts, and there's way too much content in this article to not at least look at it under a microscope and talk about it and again offer an alternative thought process. There's 327 million people in this country alone. We don't all have to agree. And I can oppose this article. I should have the right to do that on any platform. I don't have to agree with NPR, and I certainly did agree with these people. So I apologize, and again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Sorry this is taking so long. Sorry there's so many segments. This is crazy. So I'm going to try to pick it up where I left off. Proponents of Section 230 say both social media platforms and sites like Wikipedia and the Internet Archive would not be able to exist in the same way without the law. If the sites were responsible for everything users posted, the cost of defending against a deluge of lawsuits would prove crippling, advocates of the law argue. Again, the sitting president is not saying that he's going to make these companies responsible for the content on their platforms. He's not saying he's going to remove the Section 230 shield completely. He's not saying that Wikipedia and Internet Archive and all these other websites and platforms are going to be responsible for the content in any greater extent of what they are. What the sitting president is saying is that he's finding a way to no longer allow these platforms to manipulate and finesse the truth. He's going to remove their ability to be the arbiters of truth that they say that they're not being. Because again, it's double speak. They're saying that they're not the arbiters of truth. However, they're censoring and screening information at an alarming rate. And if you divide it down the middle, I'm sure if you went and found these independent studies that aren't politically motivated, you would probably find that a majority of these opinions and beliefs that are being removed are from conservative groups, and that's alarming, and it should be alarming to even people on the left, because if this was happening to you, you would be freaking out just like the people on the right are. We should all be alarmed by this. But the people on one side are saying good, and that's a problem. Because here's the deal: I may not like you, I may not agree with you, but guess what? I'll damn sure stand up and fight for your rights. I believe you should be able to say what you want to say, even if I don't agree with it. And actually, here's the deal: the more egregious and the crazier thing you say, the more I'm going to ignore it, the more I'm going to blow it off, and the more facts you're going to need to support it. Because I'm going to look into it. If you say something, just nonsensical, ridiculous, and nonsense, I'm going to look and be like, that's crazy, that's insane. I'm not gonna, just because it's on a platform doesn't mean everybody's going to believe it. But that's not going to stop me from believing you have the right to say it. Do I want you to say things that are hateful and mean? No, I don't, but I can't stop you. I can't stop you from believing in Scientology or whatever. Like, everyone should be freaking out that these platforms are censoring people. There should be a joint effort to stop this. There shouldn't be a divisive issue. So, no, he's not talking about opening up litigation. He's not talking about opening up litigation against these platforms for what people are posting. Again, he's talking about opening up litigation for people that are using the platform to litigate against the people that are censoring them. Big difference. Big difference. Pay attention. Pay attention, people. And this is how the media changes the narrative and the agenda in your mind. They're making this person, this president, out to be a monster and a demon, and this NPR article, it's trash, it's garbage, it's the complete opposite of what's happening. And all these experts and this commentary is garbage. Lawsuits that could prove crippling, advocates of the law argue. Again, if I'm running a crappy business and I'm doing something wrong and I get litigated against and that goes to court and a judge goes by the law and I'm wrong and that costs me money, I go out of business, then that was the right thing. Duh! What is happening right now? If you lose a lawsuit, if you do something wrong and you lose a lawsuit and it costs you your business, that's tough cookie, bro. Don't break the law. Simple as that. Sorry if it's crippling to your pocketbook. Sorry if that's no good for your investors. But if you're a lying criminal dirtbag, if you're a scumbag like Mark Zuckerberg, you deserve to be litigated against until you're broke. That should be a thing. That should be real. The fact that these people are being protected right now is the problem. In no way, shape, or form is a sitting president saying, hey, Wikipedia, starting tomorrow, you're now going to be responsible for every web page underneath your umbrella. It's not what's happening. Why does NPR want you to believe that? I can't get over this. I'm telling you, my blood pressure is high. I'm going to have a freaking stroke. They're twisting and turning this narrative in a way that makes me sick. Kate Ruan, sorry again if I ruin your name. Senior Legislative Counsel for the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, called the order an attempt to punish social media companies for posts that displease the president. Again, 100% factually incorrect. Go look at the president's tweets. Go look at his commentary. Go look at everything he said about this issue. Not once did he say anything about attempt to punish social media companies for posts that displease the president. If CNN or anybody posts something that the president doesn't like, he's just going to call them fake news. He's just going to call them trash bags. He's just going to call them whatever he wants. If he disagrees with what they say, he's going to call them out. He doesn't need anybody to take up a fight for him in court and punish anybody on social media for disagreeing with him. He's 100% saying you cannot editorialize people's opinions. He's not using this as a political weapon. He's saying you cannot stop people from posting their opinion on your website. You can't fact check people's opinions and people's beliefs. You can't scrub your websites of beliefs. You can't scrub your websites of expert opinions. He's not at all saying, I'm going to use the court system to go after my political enemies that own these big companies. There's much better, easier ways to do that. He doesn't need to write new legislation. He doesn't need to write an executive order for that. If he wanted to go after these people, he would. He's not going after them. He's got better things to do. He's protecting my right to say whatever I want. But NPR and Miss Kate Ruan would have you believe otherwise. This is insane what these people are saying. This is craziness. Called the order an attempt to punish social media companies for posts that displease the president. He doesn't care. The sitting president doesn't care what people are posting. He wants what he says to be unfiltered to his audience, which is what he deserves and what I deserve and what I want from me and my audience. What does NPR not understand about that? What does Kate Ruan not understand about that? This is not a political stunt theater to go after these social media companies. There's too many other easier ways to do it. He's protecting people's rights to say what they want. He's protecting my rights to say what I want. This is freaking insane. Like, I can't even understand what planet these people live on. Quote, ironically, Donald Trump is a big beneficiary of Section 230, Ruan said. if platforms were not immune under the law, they would not risk the legal liability that could come with hosting Donald Trump's lies, defamation, and threats. I'll read it again because this is so off the mark again. Ironically, Donald Trump is a big beneficiary of Section 230. If platforms were not immune under the law, then they would not risk the legal liability that could come with hosting Donald Trump's lies, defamation, and threats. Again, I don't know how many times I have to say it. Again, he is not removing the shield that prevents them from litigation when they don't, in good faith, remove something that's criminal. That's not what's happening. And again, NPR and this woman would have you believe that he's opening the floodgates for litigation against them. That's not what's happening. They would not risk the legal liability that would come with hosting Donald Trump. So basically they're saying that he's the benefactor of this shield, that thanks to this shield, he can go on there and say whatever he wants, and Twitter and Facebook can't be sued because Donald he's lying and defaming and threatening people. Again, Miss Ruan, Twitter, Facebook, they're not the arbiters of truth. They don't get to decide what they believe is a lie from President Trump. Okay? And again, since when? I can't even get into this lie thing because it's, again, this is a hit piece on the president. Donald Trump's lies, defamation, and threats. I can assure you the President of the United States does not need anybody to protect him from litigation. He's already defending himself quite well, apparently, from all the people trying to take him out. He's made it 3.5 years, and they've been trying really hard for 3.5 years. So he doesn't need Section 230 or Twitter to help him prevent to Donald Trump's lies, defamation, and threats. Again, when Donald Trump defames somebody, when he calls out, say, a reporter or whoever he doesn't like that particular day for saying bad things about him, and he behaves, I don't know, adolescently or unprofessionally or whatever it is that people dislike about his demeanor and his language and his attacks on adults, I mean, why are these people so shocked when they write terrible things about somebody and then they go ask him a question in a public forum and he's hateful towards them? They get butthurt and he calls them a liar and defaming him and other people, and they're butthurt. Grow up. Why are you so emotional about what Donald Trump says about you? If he's just the biggest scum on the earth and you can't stand him, then why does his opinion of you matter? So, saying that they're hosting Donald Trump's lies, defamation, and threats, this woman's, like, this is insane. I can't even get my head around all of this. I gotta move past this one. They could not risk legal liability that could come with hosting Donald Trump's lies, defamation, and threats. Because that's what people are going to do. They're going to start suing Twitter over hosting Donald Trump's lies. That's what NPR wants you to believe. Oh, here we go. We got 3 paragraphs, 4 paragraphs. Oh, I'm wrong. There's a couple more I thought. We're getting toward the end. Here we go. So, I can't even get my head around that one. If the platforms were not immune under the law, they would not risk the legal liability. So what? So you're telling me NPR expects you to believe that if Trump somehow just wipes this Section 230 off the face of the earth, which again is not at all what's happening, but NPR wants you to believe that somehow this is going to open the floodgates to litigation to where Twitter, Facebook, YouTube is now going to be legally liable for what people post on their platform, that they're no longer going to host these people. Well, guess what? That means they're not going to survive. No social media platform would survive. None of them could. So if you can't put those two pieces together and realize that this is complete nonsense, that it's an impossibility, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. Oh man. So we're down to the last couple paragraphs, and there's at least somebody here at the end that NPR, I'm happy to say, at least in this article, NPR brought in somebody that agrees with what's happening and offers another opinion, or at least a different perspective of what's going on. Backers of Trump's orders, such as Senator Josh Hawley, I think this is right, Hawley, Republican from Missouri, said adding warning labels to the president's tweets is an editorial decision that shows the social media platform is acting more like a publisher, and that the company should lose its special protection. That is as crystal clear, and again, I understand that this guy is a Republican and he's going to support the president, and I understand all that, but that is as crystal clear and the exact opposite of what this entire article would lead you to believe. It turns everything like that upside down on its head and offers you the alternate perspective of what's happening. Okay, and more likely the truth of what's happening. Said adding warning labels to the president's tweets is an editorial decision that shows the social media platform is acting more like a publisher, and that the company should lose its special protection. Again, understand that. If these social media platforms are going to start acting like publishers and editing information, then they don't deserve the Section 230 protection, because they're no longer a platform, they're an editorial platform. They're an editorial publisher, and it's not the same thing. So this Section 230 is meant to offer protection to a certain type of business and a certain type of model. That's the bait and switch that Barr is talking about. Their original takeoff point said one thing. They've slowly converted to a different model where they've started doing editorial and editing and publishing, and that's not the same thing, and they don't deserve this protection. So if you can just clear out all this muddy water that NPR just dumped on you and offered you all this nonsense BS that's not happening, and just listen to these words, that Trump is not trying to hold Twitter and Facebook and YouTube responsible for content that's on there. They're saying that if you're going to start editing people's information, you no longer fall under the social media platform category. You don't belong here. So if you're going to be an editorial and you're going to start censoring people, then yes, you're going to open yourself up to litigation. So he's not changing Section 230 to bend around this social media thing. He's basically clarifying that if you are going to operate as a social media platform, you don't have editorial rights. You don't get to define what people say as true or false. And you don't get to scrub people's content off your website that you don't agree with, or that doesn't fit your narrative, or doesn't fit your political agenda. So, Senator Josh Hawley, quote, "It makes little sense to treat companies that publish their editorial content..." I apologize, like I said, I'm stupid. After all these people, all these hacks that I'm going after, I'm the moron, don't forget. Quote, "It makes little sense to treat companies that publish their editorial comments about others' content as if they are mere distributors. Companies that act like publishers should be treated like publishers," Hawley wrote in a letter to Twitter's Dorsey. So he sent this letter to Dorsey and said exactly that. If you're going to edit, if you want to act like a publisher, we're going to treat you like a publisher. You can't, it's just going to, I just had this thought into my head. It's freaking a mess. You can't be a publisher and an editorial and identify as a social media platform for immunity. You can't do that. You can't be one thing and identify as another to hide behind a certain law or certain section. or to hide behind Section 230 immunity. So you are what you are, and you can't hide behind immunity by identifying as something that you're not. Oh man, identify. That's whew, okay, a whole nother topic. Okay, and this is where things started really coming. I really came like my life came to a screeching halt whenever I read this last paragraph. And again, there's no context built under it, so I have no idea what she was talking about or when she was talking about it or what else was said before or after it. But the fact that me and Nancy Pelosi found common ground, I fell out. Okay, but you're gonna love this. Okay. Excuse me. And I'm not saying I agree with everything she says, but the last paragraph, this last quote, I'll let you know when it starts and stops, but it's fantastic. Okay. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democrat from California, supports Twitter's initiative to flag tweets that contain falsehoods. So basically saying she supports Twitter's initiative to flag and mark these tweets that contain falsehoods. Again, the argument is not... How do I break this down for people that are just off the mark? This article is so off the mark. No more is it... I'm going to have to go back in the article because it defines it so perfectly already by someone else that made a comment in here. Where did it go? Okay, back to Miss Kate, the professor at St. John's University School of Law in New York. It's not the role of the president to interpret federal law. Just plain and simple. It's not the role of the president to interpret federal law. It's not the role of Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, any other social media platform to interpret truth. End of story. Period. No more negotiation. No more conversation. There's nothing else to debate. There's nothing else to talk about. It is not the role of a social media platform to interpret truth. Do you not understand what I'm saying? Am I not speaking clear enough? Do I need to draw in a third party or a fourth party to break this down any more? Again, I'm an idiot, so I have to be speaking hopefully in like third grade terms where a third grader would understand what I'm saying. It is not Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. It is not a social media platform's role to interpret what is true or false. Oh, that's it. That's it. It's just so simple. It's so simple. And it's just, this NPR article is so off the mark and it's just so convoluted. And it drags in all these experts and it gives you all these dire situations and these circumstances and this catastrophic, end of the world scenario for all these, you feel bad for these poor billionaires, and they're going to have to adjust their business model to fit these new rules that this, what do they call him? This spiteful president, they didn't say spiteful, but whatever the article, stung by Twitter, this, upset president that's just cannot get his head, he's just pissed off that they're coming after him exclusively. They're not. They're coming after. They've waged war on a section of people, and they can't do that. They're not supposed to be able to do that. They're hiding behind this immunity of Section 230, and it's BS. And it just now got found out. And you got to understand, the criminals are always one step of the law. So the law just now caught up to this. What is really criminal activity? This is criminal that these people are silencing people. You're not allowed to do that. You can't strip people of their rights. And I'm not dumb. I understand this is their platform, and they don't owe me a spot on their platform. They don't owe that to me. I understand that. But if you're going to open the platform up to all, you can't discriminate against who you allow to say anything on there. Either the platform's open to everybody or it's not. So you're discriminating against people. That should not be legal, and that's what's happening. They're hiding behind this Section 230. You can't discriminate against people, and that's exactly what's happening. I don't know how else to explain it. It is not social media platform billionaire owners to determine. It's not their role. And again, I know what people are going to say. Oh, well, they're not doing it. They're employing people that their full-time responsibility is to fact check. Again, a perfect example is Snopes. Snopes is a joke, man. It's a joke. And I'm not saying everything on their website's incorrect, because that's obviously not true. But to say that Snopes is fair and unbiased I can't even begin. I don't even know where to start. Okay, so if you believe that, I am incredibly sorry that you think that and you believe that. That could not be further from the truth. And these other fact checking again. What model are they using to be? Are they? If you again, who's the arbiter of truth? You can't convince me that there's a company out there, regardless if they lean right or lean left, or if they say they're right down the middle, they don't have some sort of agenda. They're not held accountable by any sort of board of ethics or licensing that makes what they say or do factual or correct. Just because you hire somebody to fact check and they call themselves a fact checker, just because they identify as a fact checker doesn't make them a fact checker. Like, this is the bizarre world that we live in. People just identify as whatever and they're just an expert all of a sudden. It's not these social media platforms' job to hire outside companies that are also biased to fact check people's opinions and people's beliefs. And actually, some of these people's opinions and beliefs aren't even just random people. Again, we're talking about doctors, lawyers, virologists. I mean, we're talking about people that know what they're talking about. This is crazy. And to use the crutch, and this is the most bizarre thing in the world to me, that people are still going for, still falling for, to use the crutch that, oh, well, we're using we're going to take anything down that doesn't agree with what the CDC says, or we're going to take anything down that disagrees with what the World Health Organization says. That makes me more sick than almost any of this. We have to stop pretending like these organizations are infallible. We have to stop pretending like these organizations are the end all be all. Okay? This is insane. This is insane. How many times do these, because again, these are human beings that operate these things. They're not always right. And how many times do they have to be wrong? How many times do they have to be incorrect? How many times do they have to miss the mark for us to understand that they don't always get it right? So what information they have posted on their social media page or on their website today may not even be correct tomorrow. So to say that these social media platforms are using them as their anchor and their benchmark for truth is BS. It's BS. Because again, not only is it just nonsense because there's so much human error involved, it revolves around science that changes almost every day. It changes almost every day. So you mean to tell me that the CDC and WHO are going to be changing their guidelines every single day, and then now the social media platforms are all going to try to pace them? How are they're going to change and fix and alter their AI to keep up with this and their algorithms to keep up with monitoring their platforms with millions of people on there? When the World Health Organization is right one day, and then we find out the next day that they're wrong. Oops. So what are you gonna do? Go back and let everybody? You're gonna remove your fact check banner, or what's gonna happen now? So technically, if you put a fact check banner, and again, I don't even know if I remember saying this earlier, but the quote or the tweet that they fact checked the president on, they later had to remove it because they were wrong. Twitter was wrong because there was mounds and mounds and mounds of evidence to validate and reinforce what the tweet was legitimate, that what he said was legitimate. So they had to remove the banner. So is that what they're going to do now? They're going to put a banner on stuff now and then take it off tomorrow? Are you kidding me? How can they do that millions of times? And again, You're punishing people when you're on the wrong side of history. So Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube are going to fact check you. So I'm right. And I'm just using this hypothetically as an example. I make a post, I'm right, fact check, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter uses the WHO or CDC and says that I'm wrong. So they put this banner and they put this thing, or they remove it, they ban me. A day, a week, a month later, the CDC and the WHO get new information. They change course. So I have been right the entire time, but I've already been banned and kicked off Facebook for 3 weeks. So I had the correct information. I was trying to help people. I was trying to inform people with good, true, valid, important information. I got kicked off, thrown off, and then 3 weeks later, the WHO and the CDC finally catch up. And what are they going to do now? They can't go back and They can't go back and put my content back up. They're not going to take me out of Facebook jail. But I was right the whole time. I mean, this is pure chaos. This is insane. This is an endless merry-go-round. This is just, I mean, this is the Pandora's box that I'm talking about. How can these social media platforms, that's what they are, they self-proclaim not the arbiters of truth. They're using organizations that are run by human beings that are constantly having to evolve and move and change position and change direction because information comes in all the time. Science evolves every single day. Science changes, information changes. The scientific community doesn't even agree with the scientific community. So how in the hell can Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and all these other social media platforms use them as the benchmark? Because guess what? Not every scientist agrees with them. So that doesn't make the WHO and the CDC just right. It doesn't make them right. And it doesn't lead any credence to the social media, and I guess the social media platforms wiping all the other content off their platform doesn't lead credence to the CDC and the WHO being right. And that's another false thing that's happening right now, because that's what makes people believe that what they're saying is true and right and genuine and righteous and all that. And it's not true. The WHO is wrong all the time. The CDC is wrong all the time. And science has proven it time and time and time and time again. I mean, this is insane. This is insane. Nancy Pelosi supports Twitter's initiative to flag tweets that contain falsehoods. So again, who is in charge of what's false and what's true? That is what we're talking about here. I mean, I'm never going to forget the phrase arbiter of truth. I'm never going to forget that. Because these dictators and these tyrants are saying one thing and doing another. And they're getting support from crazy politicians that say silly stuff like tweets that contain falsehoods. Man, I can't even begin to tell you. What does that mean? There's 8 billion people on this planet. There's 8 billion people coexisting here. How dare the federal government and Silicon Valley try to take it upon themselves to literally be the arbiters of truth while they relay information to the public that that's not what they're doing. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, I think it's shameful that she supports this, but I know why she does support it, because these social media platforms largely agree with her agenda. That's it. That's why she agrees, because again, Nancy's very outspoken against anything and everything that goes against her agenda. So the reason why she agrees with this, because she agrees with how much conservative content's getting removed. That's it. I mean, if you don't believe that, I'm sorry. You're on the wrong side of history. You don't understand. If you don't think Nancy Pelosi has an agenda, you're wrong. You're wrong. Do you think she cares about human life? You think she cares about the truth? She cares about herself. She cares about re-election. She cares about power. She cares about control. She cares about money. I mean, career politician. She's been doing this for over 40 years, and you think she cares about you? Wake up. Wake up. You think she cares about the truth? Do you really deep down in your heart just sacrifice your innocence for just a few moments and just dig deep down in yourself, in your soul, and tell me that you honestly believe that this complete stranger cares about you and your family and your kids and your future and your livelihood? Do you think she cares that you get the truth? I mean, common sense should tell you that that is the exact opposite of what she wants. She doesn't want you to have the truth. If you had the truth, you probably would show up on her front doorstep. Like, I mean, I can't even get into that because I don't want to be a target. But if you knew what these politicians were doing, and I'm not talking about just her, it could go all the way up to the President of the United States and all these other people. I mean, I have a big part of me that has a painful, like, I hate to use the word hate, but I hate politicians, especially career politicians. Like, I don't think any of them are on our side. And if you believe that, like, you're naive. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. If you actually think these people care about you, do you honestly think these people care? Follow the money. Follow the money. Because they're operating on your money. Everything's taxpayer funded. Everything's taxpayer funded. I mean, do you honestly, I mean, that would be like me coming to your house. Like, it's literally the DC Mafia. It'd be like me coming to your house every single week and say, I'm going to offer you protection. You're going to pay me $200 a week. But I got to do it at gunpoint, because if I just come knock and ask nicely, you're going to do it? No, of course not. I got to do it with a gun, because then you're going to do it, right? Yes. So I'm going to come to you, knock on your door, I'm going to say, hey, I'm offering you protection. Got my gun in your face, I'm going to say, I'm going to offer you protection, you need $200 a week. You're going to hand over the $200, and I'm going to offer you protection. The reality is, very likely, there's a minuscule chance that anything will ever happen to you, because crime is mostly low. So it's very unlikely that something's ever going to happen to you, but I'm going to keep showing up to collect my $200 a week, and I'm going to do that to everybody in your neighborhood. But guess what? Something's going to happen. Crime's going to happen. Every so often, something bad's going to happen, and I'm going to show up to get my $200, and you're going to cry foul. And you're going to say, hey, I'm going to stick. You're going to say, hey, I thought I was paying you to protect me, and I'm giving you $200 a week, and somebody broke in. I'm going to stick my gun in your face, and I'm going to say shit happens, and next week, and starting from next week on, it's going to be $250 a week. Because something happened, so now you need to be in fear of this happening again, so I need more money to make sure that doesn't happen again. Okay? So that is how politics works. So don't think this is a Democrat-Republican thing. Most of them are snakes. I don't think all of them started out that way, but I think over time their bank accounts prove that that's the case. And if there's evidence otherwise, I'd love to see it. Because right now I'm going off experience, and I'm going off of bank accounts, and I'm going off of a lot of double speak. Say one thing, do another. Not unusual for politicians. Okay? Which those people need fact checking more than anybody. Why we have technology to determine when people are lying. Do we not have this technology to determine when people are lying? Why are we not hooking these politicians up to that equipment like every month? Every 6 months, give them a break. 6 months. Every 6 months, every politician should be hooked up to a lie detector test or whatever we're using to determine people are telling the truth, because we know we have that technology. Whether it's AI or software or whatever, we have that technology. So how ignorant are we to not have these politicians hooked up to that technology every 6 months? Why are we not shaking them down for the truth? We have that technology. But instead, social media is silencing and fact-checking your everyday citizen, because we're dangerous, because we're a threat to society, and we're a threat to security. But the people that are siphoning money and rioting and looting our economy and our citizens every single day, and selling out this country from the inside out, behind closed doors, to other countries, the DC Mafia, these criminals that run this country, just get a free pass. I mean, literally, they have immunity from prosecution. Do you not understand that? They have immunity from prosecution. You think they're not taking advantage of that? How dumb is that? And I'm not saying that there aren't good people out there. There aren't good politicians. I mean, but I'm telling you right now, if I just gave immunity to everybody in the world, let's just go with the U.S. If I give immunity to everybody else, that would make it to give them immunity from criminal prosecution, which is what most politicians have. They have immunity from criminal prosecution, not from everything, but many things. Okay. Do you not think people would exercise that? And there's at least some portion of the population that's not committing crime because they know that there's consequences. At least some. I know some people are going to commit crime anyway. They're going to take the risk. They're going to weigh the risk and reward. Say, I'm going to try to get away with this crime because the consequences, the likelihood of me getting caught is not very possible, and But I'm telling you, if I offered every single American immunity from criminal prosecution, you don't think crime would go up? You don't think that there would be a spike? So you don't think that these politicians don't use that immunity to their advantage? Like, again, sacrifice your childish innocence and understand that these people don't give a flying flip about you. The DC Mafia has criminal immunity. They have access to trillions of dollars every year. And they've convinced you that they care about you. I'm getting away off the topic. I got to get back on the money here. So yeah, Nancy Pelosi supports Twitter's initiative to flag tweets that contain falsehoods. So again, who decides what's true and false is that should be up for debate every day, all day. Because again, it's not me or anybody else's right to tell you what to believe. And that's what this is about. Someone does not have the right to tell me what to believe. Just like I would never tell you. That's it. So when I see fact check stuff on other people's page, I'm like, that's BS that you're being censored. Injustice is injustice, no matter if it's happening to your political opponent or not. Or somebody you agree with or not. I don't believe you should be silenced. I don't care if you think, I don't care what you believe in. Like I said, I don't care if you believe in Scientology or aliens or flat Earth or the Earth is hollow or I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if you think you should wear a mask or not wear a mask. You are entitled to your belief system. That's what this country is supposed to be founded on. But again, the more outrageous your claim, the more evidence you're going to need to back it up. I don't need Twitter and Facebook to fact check it for me. And I don't need them to censor you. If you break the law, if you're posting child pornography, if you're selling drugs, if you're human trafficking, you should be in prison. You should go to jail. That's criminal. But you should not be censored for posting your beliefs or your opinions. She said Trump's order directs the federal government to dismantle efforts to help users I'm better at talking and not so good at reading. She said Trump's order directs the federal government to dismantle, and I got to read it right. Thanks, Bongino. Precision matters. She said Trump's order directs the federal government to, quote, dismantle efforts to help users distinguish fact from fiction, end quote. Dismantle efforts to help users distinguish fact from fiction. What does that mean? Dismantle efforts to help users distinguish fact from fiction. It's not social media platforms' job to distinguish between fact and fiction. What does this dodo bird not understand about that? Social media doesn't get to determine what is fact or fiction. They said earlier above that they're going to put all the information out there and allow people to decide for themselves. If you're censoring half the information, then you're not allowing people to decide for themselves. So you're not dismantling anything. It's garbage. Dismantle efforts to help distinguish fact and fiction. It's what is dismantling is the broad. I'm just going to move past it because that's just insane. Dismantle effort to help people distinguish between fact and fiction. How is it possible that it's helping people distinguish between fact and fiction? That is nuts. That's not When they're censoring people, they're not helping people distinguish between fact and fiction. They are telling them what to believe. That's it. There's a huge difference between helping people discern between what may or may not be factual and just flat out telling people what to believe. Because again, you would have to do it on both sides if that were the case. If, again, side A makes a post with side information A and side B post with information B, and you only censor B with, hey, there's an alternative viewpoint on side A that you need to be aware of, then you have to do the same the other way. You have to tell side A, side B story. And that's not what's happening. This is so simple. They're not helping people discern dark from light. They're just flat out telling people what to believe. She said the order does not address the proliferation of disinformation on social media, an issue central in 2016 presidential election and ones that expected to be influential in November. Again, address the proliferation of disinformation. What this, again, is trying to say is that we have all the correct information, and if you don't get your information from us, then it's the wrong information, so we need to remove that information and tell you what you need to be thinking and doing and believing. That's not how this works. That's not how a free society works. This is absurd. These people have so much ego that they're righteous and they're right and they're the beacon of truth, that they're not, they just flat out don't want anyone to disagree with them to even be on, to even have a way to voice their opinion. They're appointing themselves as arbiters of truth. Are you not understanding that they're saying one thing and doing another? Proliferation of disinformation on social media. What happened to letting people decide for themselves? And again, who's to decide what's disinformation? So I, as an American citizen, I can say, hey, I think CNN, my belief is that CNN is disseminating mass amounts of disinformation. Okay, I can say that. I have a right to say that. I have that belief. Because I can do homework and I can do research and point out facts and evidence to what they're saying is not true. Just like I went and I factually disputed parts of this. I'm not saying I didn't throw a bunch of opinions and my beliefs and personal things in there, but I factually disproved things that were in here, in NPR's viewpoint. So if I made a Facebook post or any other post that disputed what was in this article, it would be flagged and removed as false information and disinformation, even though what I said was factually true, and even though what's in this article is factually incorrect. So again, they're making themselves the arbiters of truth, and they're deciding what is true and what's not true, and they're trying to force people to believe a certain way. I should be allowed to free think. I should be allowed to watch CNN and watch other news sources, and I should be able to say, hey, this is true and real because this is what my life experience aligns with, and this is false and this is not real and this is not true for me. That's it. And if I owned a social media platform, I should not be allowed to say that these people that don't agree with me aren't allowed to have that viewpoint on my platform. It's that simple. It's that simple. I don't know what else to tell you. This is insane. This is insane. There's not even that much argument or debate here. It's just, this is insane. Proliferation of disinformation. They don't get to decide what is disinformation, because I think a lot of these mainstream media platforms, whether they lean right or lean left, or they're far right or far left, it's almost all disinformation. It's almost all disinformation. I read Fox News stories and I'm like, what kind of BS is this? This doesn't make any sense. I read CNN or MSNBC, same thing. Like, what in the French toast are these people talking about? So this isn't a partisan issue. This is When do people realize that the federal government is not a good source of information? When do people realize that the mainstream media gets all their information from the federal government? That's it. It's almost like no commentary needed. 99.999% of the information on the internet, on the web, on these social media platforms is misinformation. So if we take all the misinformation off, what's going to be left? Memes? Is that what Nancy Pelosi and all these people want? So they don't want information. They don't want people communicating thoughts and ideas. They only want to share memes. Is that really what this is headed at? No, they want to censor viewpoints. They want to censor opposing viewpoints. They want to censor opposing narratives. Plain and simple. This is my favorite part. This is where I lost it, because me and Pelosi agree on something. And again, I wish there was more context to this, because I want to know what was said before and I want to know what was said after. But good night, I fell out when I realized that me and Pelosi have common ground here. And I'm going to read this more than once because I enjoy it so much. God bless Pelosi. Again and again, so quote, I'm such a terrible reader, guys, I'm sorry. Quote, again and again, social media platforms have sold out the public interest to pad their corporate profits. Their business model is to make money at the expense of the truth, end quote, Pelosi said. Get the out of town. What? I have no idea why NPR included this in this article, but it's a freaking home run, grand slam, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, down by 3, smashing it out of the park. No idea why they included this quote, but it is freaking gold. It is gold. Quote, again and again, social media platforms have sold out the public interest to pad their corporate profits. Their business model is to make money at the expense of the truth. Well, la-ti-da, la-ti-da. There you go, end of story. So, do you need any more proof than that? I mean, me and Pelosi are like, man, I wish I could find out what the rest of that was about, but man, that's gold, man. That is gold. Again and again, social media platforms have sold out the public interest to pad their corporate profits. Their business model is to make money at the expense of the truth. Oh man, that is. Oh, I'm just gonna let that marinate for a minute. God, isn't that just like? Oh, I'm trying to figure out how I can. I mean, I can't even tell you how sweet that was. Again, these people do not care about you. They do not care about the truth. Like, how did they end that article with that? Their business model is to make money at the expense of the truth. Hello? What else do you need to know? Like, that just completely just turns this whole article upside down. Like, I can't, like, NPR, where are you going? What are you doing? You just, to make money at the expense of the truth. They don't care about the truth. They don't care about falsehoods. They don't care about any of that. They care about money. Money, money, money. Follow the money. Okay, so yeah, I've completely unloaded. This thing went way too far. It's going to take me days to upload all this because I'm out here in the freaking desert, and I got to use my phone to upload everything. But anyway, it's going to take forever to get this content out there. Thanks for sticking along with me. This has been a long ride to get through one article, but I hope you guys understand how important this is for our time, and how important these, when you read these articles, to be reading between the lines and reading alternate viewpoints, because this information that they want you to believe isn't true. It's not real. They're skewing the facts. And no, I don't agree with everything the sitting president says. Absolutely not. I disagree with most of what politicians say and do, and I don't believe they're on our side. I don't believe they're in our defense. But whenever I see a politician that's doing something that I believe is just and what's right for the people, which is what they're supposed to be doing, is working for the people, and that feels like what's happening here, even if the people on the left disagree with the reasons why he's doing it. They feel like he's got his feelings hurt and he's being childish and all this because his tweet got flagged, and they think he's just throwing a temper tantrum, and now social media is just his new target and his new, I mean, if you disagree with the reasons why, you need to understand the foundation of what's happening, and he's doing the right thing whether you agree with it or not. Just like when you see these protesters defending the Second Amendment and the First Amendment, and you disagree, oh my God, these people are crazy, these people are lunatics. Believe it or not, they're fighting for you. They're fighting for you. So you may not like it, but just, you better damn well be glad that somebody's out there on the streets. Somebody's out there with their sign and with their sidearm defending your rights, because if they weren't out there doing it, you wouldn't have these things that you have. I promise you, if there were not people out there on the front lines raising hell for you, you wouldn't have it. So as much as you dislike why he's doing it, you better be damn happy as to the reason that he's doing it. Not the reason why he's doing it. You know, that's exactly the opposite of what I meant. You may not like the reason why he's doing it, but you better be damn glad that he's doing it. You better be damn glad, because it may not be you today, but it will be you soon. It may not be you this election year, but it will be you an election year coming in the near future. Okay? So again, I don't agree with all these politicians. I think most of them are horrible people that are just misguided lunatics, that are just money hungry, power hungry. Just, I mean, they're gone. They're just too far, and we keep voting for them because we're lazy. And I mean, it's insane. It's insane. Politics is way out of hand. But you have to understand what's happening here. And this article from NPR, and I'm really happy that a friend of mine on Facebook posted. I can't post anything on Facebook. I can't comment. I can't like. I can't share because I'm in Facebook jail. But I can still view my feed, of course, because there's ads on it, and they don't want me to not see the ads. Because if they really want to put you in Facebook jail, they wouldn't let you on there at all. But no, they want to let you on there. They want you to scroll your feed so you can see the ads, because they're making money off of that. I just can't post a comment and share. So think about that for a second. But really glad my friend posted that article. I'm really sorry this took so long to get through. Thanks for hanging in there. And man, I'll never forget the day me and Pelosi were standing on the same piece of dirt. I'll never forget it. Never forget it. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging in there, and God bless.